the first thing I'm going to ask you is just tell me your name, your title, and your connection to Convergence.
My name is Ellie Brittani. I am Senior Director of Learning Initiatives within Walmart US. And I got connected to Convergence through the Walmart Foundation originally to participate in the Economic Mobility Dialogue.
Great. So how do you see Working Up contributing to improving economic mobility in America?
So I think the Working Up process has been really critical and valuable in bringing together different voices to the table that normally wouldn't speak together on these issues. And I think in the political environment we're in these days, at a national level, but also at a state and local level, it's more important than ever to bring together different voices and different perspectives to come to try to form a common agreement on issues. We don't see it enough. And it's been an incredibly valuable experience, both for me personally, but also I think for the Walmart organization to understand really where different voices stand on the issue of economic mobility and how we can collaborate through the private sector, through the public sector, through the nonprofit sector to make a difference in this space. Sufficient?
Yes.
Slow? Fast?
Great. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. I will put the hair back.
Is the hair okay?
The hair's fine.
Do we need to do it again? All right. Okay. There are people with a wide range of views and expertise that were around the Working Up table. Can you reflect on working with someone who had a different perspective from yours and what you learned from that?
Sure. I think there are a couple of really good examples that have influenced how we think about these issues at Walmart. One was the participation of labor groups and labor advocates at the table. As you may recognize, Walmart doesn't usually sit down at the table with groups like that one-on-one to really understand their point of view and understand the intent behind the positions they often take publicly. I had formed a really strong relationship with a woman named Judy Conti through this process, and she is a workers' rights advocate. And what was fascinating was to see that the intents behind our positions was often the same, and that by collaborating, by having this dialogue, we found that there was much more in common that we felt in terms of how workers should be treated, the rights that they should have in the workplace. And the dialogue gave us this ability to be very creative in a safe setting to discuss potential solutions in that space. The second example I would give was a gentleman who represented an organization supporting incarcerated individuals who are trying to return to work. And Walmart was just in the process at that point in time in really reevaluating and thinking about barriers to entry to our workforce and how we could minimize those barriers. And he gave us a lot of food for thought on how to think about the incarcerated population and the value they can bring to Walmart, and how we might incorporate those individuals into our workforce in a way that makes them successful. And so I think those are a couple of examples of how, by sitting down at the table and listening to different perspectives, we really can collaborate on solutions.
How has participating in the Convergence process influenced your thinking or your work?
So my work is really focused on associate experience and on innovations around how our associates experience the workplace. And so this has had a huge impact on many areas of the work our organization does. A couple of examples. I lead the learning space for Walmart US and the strategies that we put in place to support training and development and education for our Walmart US workforce. Through this process, through speaking to other employers, but also through understanding what's happening in the political system, through participants, and also in the nonprofit sector. As I participated, we were building internally a new program to support access to higher education for individuals in our workforce that don't have degrees. And a couple of things that shaped how we think about this included understanding that traditional employers often focus on enrollment for degree programs, but not on completion, and how the true value for the worker, as well as for the company, frankly, is around completing the program. And so as we designed the program based on advice from many of the participants, we designed it in a way to maximize completion And we were very careful in selecting partner organizations that were focused on completion rates and building supportive elements to the program that would maximize the potential for completion. And a lot of that was influenced by stakeholders at the Convergence table. The other component that has influenced us quite a bit was a discussion around scheduling and how frontline workers are really looking for, in many cases, not all, but many cases, stable, predictable schedules. This was something that was coming to the light as we were starting the dialogue, and it really reinforced the efforts Walmart is making in this space to offer a very large proportion of our employees the ability to have stable, fixed schedules, which we hope to be announcing soon. And we really appreciated how participants pushed us in that area and really made us focus our efforts in that space.
And I'm going to ask you
yeah, great,
question.
Please.
Did you consult with people? Like, I know you met with them obviously when you were together, but how did you, what kind of interactions did you have that weren't formally at the meetings?
So I did have dialogue with several of the participants outside. In particular, spoke with some of the foundation participants who were present to understand who are the best-in-class organizations in my case, the education space that we could be working with, and also with the other employers in the room and the Chamber of Commerce. What are the big innovations that employers are doing that we don't have visibility to in the space around scheduling in particular? And so, yes, it's an amazing network that you get to build through the Convergence process of thought leaders that give you, a safe space to really have those conversations in a way that can really broaden your thinking.
And will you describe also, I've heard Russ, I don't quite have it straight, but you did some kind of an event where you brought in Judy and some other people to Walmart.
Oh, yeah.
So just talk about that.
Yeah. So in January of this year, Walmart hosted our first, what hopefully will be an annual conference on working life in America. And we had a number of thought leaders across a broad array of topics, everything from local economic development. We had venture capitalists come speak, to local governments from a variety of Midwestern cities and towns, to leaders in the education space, to come and speak on a variety of topics on a lot around economic mobility, frankly. And so as part of that, we invited a whole series of the participants from Convergence to come hear what Walmart was doing, but also to understand what these other thought leaders were bringing to the table. And I think about 6 or 7 individuals came and spent time with us. It was such a joy to have the friends and the colleagues I developed in Convergence come and see a little bit about what we're trying to do, to counsel us on how we could do it better, to see what Arkansas is like. Many had never been, and to really share our perspective, knowing that we don't always get it right or perfect, but to have them see a little slice of our world as well.
And what would you say was your favorite part about being involved with the Convergence process?
For me, the best part of being involved in Convergence was just the ability to interact with such smart, passionate people on this issue. I feel very strongly about trying to build social justice and economic mobility from an unusual vantage point in the largest company in the United States, and trying to push those perspectives and agendas from the inside. And it was refreshing and reinvigorating to be able to come here once a quarter and speak to people who shared those values, but were attacking it from a very different angle, to see how all of us together could make progress. It was one of those things that when you're in it in the private sector, sometimes you don't get those perspectives, and it can really keep you motivated and keep your eye on the prize, if you will.
And what do you hope will be the impact? What do you see as, both for Walmart and in general, the long-term impact of this work?
Well, I hope there's going to be I hope and believe there will be substantial impact to the work. I think the set of recommendations we've come up with around workforce development, quality work and financial stability and security are critical. And I think they're very practical as well. I think we really came up with recommendations and solutions that aren't pie in the sky theoretical, but that for us, we're working on many of the solutions in real time. I know many of the other employers at the table are as well. But beyond the private sector, a lot of the partnership opportunities or the state and local initiatives that were recommended as well feel very practical and executable. And so I hope that people see this as concrete solutions that really we can deliver against in the next 5 years. And I hope people take up the flag, because it's very unusual to come away with the left, the right, big business, small business, nonprofit, public sector all together in a room saying, yes, we believe that these are shared values and shared priorities that are achievable.
Anything you want to add that I didn't ask you about?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. It's been a great experience. I would encourage anyone who has the opportunity to participate in something like this, absolutely, to take the time. It's absolutely worth the effort and energy you put in. It's been an amazing experience.
Great.
Thank you.
Anything? Did I miss anything, you think? Or? All right.
Thank you.
Good to hear.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to miss it.